Dying to be Stuckmocky. Chapter 7. Vira engages. "Come on then," commanded Vira in her most authoritative voice. "There must be a rear exit somewhere." She held her useless console in both hands and started for the passageway recently used by the priest and acolyte, closely followed by Fahyrjeon. For a moment it looked like Mirrin was also going to follow obediently, but then he seemed to have second thoughts and stopped defiantly in his tracks. "Why should I go with you? To be further humiliated?" Vira paused while her mind raced. "There are many ways to be humiliated, Mirrin. It's your choice which of them you prefer." She casually lifted the console up for a feigned inspection. Mirren's face betrayed his alarm for a moment, before he adopted an air of nonchalance. "If you insist on allowing that beast to accompany you, it is my duty to escort you for your own protection. I believe I at least owe that to you for wounding you so ignominiously." "Oh, thanks, Mirrin," Vira tried to gush convincingly. "I appreciate that." Fahyrjeon looked supremely unimpressed at the theatre being enacted, but kept its silence by pressing heavily on its left foot with its right. Vira noted its self-restraint and surreptitiously patted its arm again. "So, let's find that exit." The trio made their way along the marble corridor, glancing hopefully into every room they passed. Eventually they found themselves in an enclosed courtyard garden full of fruit trees, with a bed of vegetables down one side. Breathed Fahyrjeon appreciatively. It skipped forward, yes, skipped, to the nearest heavily laden tree, picked a bunch of cherries, and began to devour them voraciously. Mirrin, meanwhile, headed for the row of low stone buildings set against the far wall. As Vira passed the snacking Stuckmocky, she found a huge bunch of cherries being pushed down the front of her armour. "For later," said a deep, wet voice. Vira wasn't sure whether to hope the fruit was for herself or for Fahyrjeon. She continued down the paved path that bisected the courtyard, watching Mirrin some way ahead as he peered into one of the buildings through an open doorway. After a quick inspection, he turned to Vira and urgently signalled her to join him. Vira hurried forward as Mirrin informed her, "The kitchens. They open onto the street, it seems." Mirrin disappeared inside as Vira turned to make sure Fahyrjeon was keeping up. Rather than the friendly furry face she expected to see behind her, she instead saw a horrifying beast stained a savage red around the mouth and down the chin, and chest, and a little down the legs as well. Oh dear, and the feet. "Oh, Fahyrjeon," she admonished, grabbing a cloth from a table just inside the doorway. She looked around the kitchen for some water, but there was none to be seen, and no sign of Mirrin either. So taking a hint from Stuckmocky culture, she spat copiously on the cloth and began wiping around Fahyrjeon's mouth as best she could. "Hold still. We can't let you on the street looking like this. You'll start a stampede of panic." Fahyrjeon's eyes once more filled with glistening emotion, and Vira could swear she heard a cooing sound coming from behind the vigorously rubbing cloth. She pulled it away to inspect her progress, only to see a goofy grin on the face behind. "Oh, now, what is it this time?" she asked, trying to sound impatient, but the grin disarmed her entirely. "You've returned your essence." "I accept." "Accept what?" she asked cautiously. "Plafond. Your lifelong bond. I thought you'd never ask." "Hang on, a lifelong bond? Isn't it a little soon for something so drastic?" At that moment, Mirrin stuck his head through a doorway at the end of the long room behind them. "What's keeping you? The street out here is clear. We must be on our way before the kitchen staff return." "Yes," agreed Vira, eyeing Fahyrjeon. "I think we'd better be going before I find myself with a whole family of adopted Stuckmocky." Fahyrjeon's face lit up even more, if that was possible. "No, seriously," Vira warned. "We really have to talk about all this before you go mentally measuring me for another costume, or whatever it is you have in mind. Let's just get the juggling sorted first." "What in the name of the spirit are you two talking about?" puzzled Mirrin. For the first time he caught sight of the cherry juice down Fahyrjeon's front, and he launched himself into the room. "Has it attacked you, Vira? I knew it was dangerous to entrust a beast such as this with weapons." He grabbed Vira by the shoulders and turned her to face him in order to assess her injuries. His eyes grew wide with alarm at the sight of the dark red spreading down her skirt. Vira saw the look in Mirren's eyes and turned her own to the squashed fruit, visible only to her inside her costume. "No, no, it's not what you think! Stop!" she yelled as she grabbed ineffectually at the gladiator, who lunged for the nearest kitchen knife. Vira instead threw herself into Fahyrjeon's arms before it could draw a sword, and turned to face Mirren again. The gladiator was forced to pull up short in front of the Stuckmocky, his arm raised and knife ready to avenge. Vira let loose a strangled cry of frustration, and held out her forearm as a reminder. "You're the only one who's injured me, Mirren. Fahyrjeon and I seem to be engaged, actually." She scooped out a handful of pulverised cherries. "Care for a little celebratory fruit?" Mirren dropped his knife with a look of stunned remorse and turned away to lean on a table, his head sagging between his shoulders. After a few moments he spoke in a low, pained voice. "I am a bestiarius. The best bestiarius, they say. Used to say. But I am also a slave. If I am not a bestiarius, I am nothing but a slave." Vira looked up at Fahyrjeon and mouthed, "Bestiarius?" It whispered back, "He specialises in killing beasts in the arena, including Stuckmocky," it added with a grimace. "Oh, of course," Vira murmured. She stared helplessly at the gladiator slave and felt the shame crushing his spirit. "Mirren," she began, but then heard voices approaching from the courtyard. Mirren immediately returned to warrior mode. His bared soul was securely hidden once more, and gestured urgently to the other two to follow him. They wasted no time in bustling through the narrow kitchen and into the empty street beyond, where Vira scraped the last of the crushed cherries from her armour and into the gutter. "Now what?" she asked her two companions, as she attempted to wipe her sticky hands on her filthy skirt. "Oh, the spirits save me!" exclaimed Mirren suddenly, with heart-wrenching passion. Vira forgot her sticky concerns as she saw Mirren's recent distress return. "Oh, Mirren, I'm so sorry. We'll find a way to get your reputation back." Mirren seemed not to hear her as he stared yearningly through the doorway they'd just exited from. What do you call it?" he asked, looking at Vira. "I must have dropped it in the kitchen." "The stubby holder?" "Oh, for goodness sake, Mirren!" "Mirren!" called a loud female voice from close behind them in the street. They turned to see a middle-aged woman in expensive clothing running toward them with a determined look on her face. Mirren reflexively adopted a defensive posture, and the woman savagely threw her arms around him. "Mirren! Mirren!" she screamed as she planted kiss after kiss on his astonished face. "I guess she hasn't heard the news yet," Fahyrjeon commented wryly to Vira.